we want to test a variety of fluids for viscosity. So look around your house and see what you've got. These are a few things I found in my house. Water, honey, ketchup, mustard, some pancake syrup, rubbing alcohol, and milk. You might have other things. You might have apple juice or orange juice or other liquids, but just pick a variety. You want some that seem kind of runny and water-like, and some that are thick and flow much more slowly. So we're ready to test the first fluid, water. I've got my finger over the hole, and I'm going to fill it all the way to the top. And when it gets to the mark we have, I don't know if you can see that in there, when it gets down to the mark, then we'll stop the stopwatch and we'll record the time. Now, this is a little hard to do by yourself, so it helps if you have a helper, someone to operate the stopwatch for you. I'm going to fill this up to the top. And we'll get ready. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so we get 5.18 seconds. Of course, we would want to repeat that a few times. Now with water, I don't mind it just draining out, but with something like honey or other fluids that you might be using, you don't want to keep wasting that much fluid every time down the drain. So you can have it run into a little cup, and then you can reuse it if you're going to do multiple tests and record different times. So this took over 5 seconds, and I told you that 2 to 3 seconds was probably a better time. So I'm going to move my line up a little bit higher so that we can stop the clock a little sooner. So I'm just going to pick another line here, and I think that's probably going to be good enough for me. That's that spot right there. So now we're going to allow the fluid to go down to that first line, and we'll stop the clock, and that'll probably be close to 3 seconds. If it's a little over, that's okay. So we're going to test it now to see how close we are to 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. .28 seconds. Close enough for me. I would just go with that and do my test. So I've got a time for water, and I would do multiple tests like that, and then go on and test another fluid. A couple of important notes about these tests. One, the fluids should all be the same temperature. So if you take one out of the refrigerator, let it sit at room temperature for a little while so it becomes the same temperature as everything else. And then the other thing I want to note is that the size of the hole is really arbitrary. And so if you get two fluids that are very close and you can't really tell them apart, maybe making a smaller hole will help you, because that'll spread out the time, and any differences in the two fluids will be more obvious. So I would start with the pencil hole and go through and test things, and then if you get two that are very close, then you can try a slightly smaller hole and test those two fluids to see which one is more viscous than the other. So now we're ready to test another fluid. I'm going to test honey. And I'll fill my cup up. I have my finger over the hole, and I'll fill my cup up to the top. So now we're ready to make a measurement. 3, 2, 1. Okay, you watching the mark? A little bit more. Okay, so we hit the mark and we stopped our stopwatch. So 1 minute 40 seconds. That's 100 seconds, about 25 times slower than water.